The stars had always been quiet witnesses to humanity's story, watching as humans grew from fragile creatures on a blue planet to a species that reached for the stars. But the galaxy did not greet humans with open arms. It was a harsh place, filled with older, stronger, and more ruthless species. When war came, the humans did what everyone expected. They ran first. The first Great War with the Silurians was brutal. Their ships were faster, their weapons stronger. The humans, with their rusty fleets and hastily built defenses, could not match them. When the Silurian fleets approached Earth's colonies on the edge of the solar system, the humans pulled back. Entire colonies were evacuated. People fled in fear and desperation. To the galaxy, humans looked weak and scared. The stars whispered the same phrase, "Humans run first." Years later, another war erupted against the Krell, a warrior species known for their fierce loyalty and brutal tactics. When the Krell warships descended on the outer colonies, humans again chose to retreat. This time it was even faster. The humans destroyed their own bases and fled, leaving behind technology and weapons. Many in the galaxy laughed. "Cowards," they said. "Always running, never fighting." But something strange happened. While other species fought bitter battles and lost thousands, the humans did not disappear. They fell back, yes, but they never vanished. After the wars ended, they returned. Slowly, they'd rebuild. Stronger ships, better weapons, and new strategies appeared. Their colonies grew again, and their fleets returned. Other species noticed this. Captain Varric, a young officer of the Drallan fleet, had heard all the stories. His people had fought the humans 3 times and had won every battle. Yet, here they were, still standing, always alive, always coming back. Varric's curiosity grew into obsession. Why did humans always run first? Why did they always fall last? To answer these questions, he decided to follow their trail. His first stop was a human space station near the abandoned world of Ceres, once a busy trading hub, now silent and empty. When Varric arrived, the station looked strange. It was clean. No damage. No signs of hurried evacuation. The logs showed that humans had left quietly, not in panic. They had shut down the station with care and precision. Someone had planned every step. Varric found old recordings from the station commander. The voice was calm, not scared. The commander spoke of strategic withdrawal and preserving resources. He said, "We do not fight to die. We fight to live." That phrase haunted Varric. It was not the words of cowards. It was the words of survivors. The more Varric dug, the more he realized that humans did not run because they were weak. They ran because they chose to live another day. Their retreats were not defeats, but carefully planned moves in a larger game. But what was this game? Varric's investigation took him to a secret human archive on Mars. Hidden deep underground, it held records of every war, every battle, every retreat. There were maps showing safe routes, escape points, and fallback positions. Human commanders used data and patience, not brute force. One document stood out. It was a message from a human general to his troops during the First War. He wrote, "We run now so we can strike when they least expect. We fall back so we can rise higher. We lose battles so we can win wars." The words echoed in Varric's mind. Outside the archives, the galaxy was changing. Other species had begun to whisper about the humans. Some called them cowards, but others used words like clever or dangerous. No one could deny one fact: humans were not gone. They were growing stronger in the shadows. Varric decided to witness the humans himself. He disguised himself as a trader and boarded a ship bound for Earth. When he arrived, he saw a planet of calm cities and busy streets, but under the surface, something else was happening. In hidden bunkers, humans worked day and night. Scientists, engineers, and strategists planned not just to survive, but to dominate. They studied every alien tactic, every weapon design. They built new ships with unknown technologies. and they trained warriors not just to fight, but to outthink and outlast. Varric met a human soldier named Jara. She was young, but had seen many battles. When Varric asked why humans always ran, she smiled sadly. "We run because we must," she said. "But when we fall back, we never fall down. We watch, we learn, and when it's time, we come back." Jara told him about the Last Stand, a secret plan where humans would abandon everything to save what mattered most, their future. "We run first so no one expects what comes next," she said. Varric left Earth with more questions than answers. The humans were not cowards. They were patient. They were smart. They played the long game. And the galaxy had yet to see their final move. The stars seemed to hold their breath, waiting. Because in the silence after the human retreat, something dangerous was growing. Something that would change the fate of the galaxy forever. Varric whispered to himself, "They always run first, but they always fall last." The galaxy had seen many retreat maps. Most were made in panic, lines drawn quickly as enemies closed in. But what Captain Varric found inside an abandoned human base was something else entirely. It wasn't fear, it was a plan. The base was on a cold moon called Altera 5. It had once been a research center used by humans during the early stages of the Krell War. Now it was silent, dead. But Varric, driven by his growing obsession, had come to find the truth. His ship landed without trouble. No defenses activated. No traps. Just quiet snow and old steel walls. As he entered the base, his boots echoed down empty halls. The lights still worked. The systems still responded to his touch. "Strange," he whispered. "Why leave everything working?" Inside the command center, Varric found something that stopped him cold. A large table screen filled with dots, lines, and coordinates. It was a map, but not a normal one. It showed multiple human bases and colonies, all connected by strange routes, not towards the center of war zones, but away from them. Each line was marked with numbers and names, dates, cargo logs, ship IDs. It showed when people left, what they took, and where they went. No mess, no confusion. It was a retreat, yes, but it was organized, calculated, intentional. This wasn't panic. This was chess. Varric zoomed in on a location called Theta Ridge. It had been destroyed by Krell forces just 2 months after humans ran from it. But according to the logs, the humans had moved every person, every machine, and even most of their data 2 weeks before the Krell attack. How did they know? He wondered. Then he found a folder hidden deep in the base systems. It was named Operation Ember Trail. Inside were dozens of recorded voice messages between human commanders. One voice stood out. Calm. Deep. A leader. Phase 3 complete. The voice said, "Fleet groups are in place. Set fire to the trail." Varric didn't understand at first, but then he saw it. After each retreat, there were small explosions, not big enough to destroy, just enough to delay. A space station rigged to overload. A fuel depot left with corrupt chemicals. Old communication satellites sending wrong signals. The humans were leaving traps, not to win battles, but to slow their enemies, to frustrate them, to bleed time. And it worked. The Krell War had lasted nearly twice as long as expected. Supply lines failed. Enemy ships got lost. Battles started late. Everyone blamed bad luck, bad maps, bad leadership. But it wasn't luck. It was the Ember Trail. Varric leaned back in his chair. This changed everything. The humans didn't just run. They led their enemies down a broken path while building their strength somewhere else. He looked at the last entry on the Ember Trail map. It showed a system far beyond the war zone. Unknown. Empty space. Or so it seemed. Varric sent a quiet ping to the coordinates. No reply. Then, after a long pause, something pinged back. Only once. Only for a second. But it was enough. "They're there," Varric whispered. He turned to leave, but paused when he saw something new on the screen. A message slowly appeared across the old glass surface. It was in perfect Drallan language. His language. If you're reading this, you followed our path. Good. That means you're learning. But be careful, Captain Varric. We always leave the door open. So you walk through it, not knowing we're behind you. His blood froze. They knew he would come. They had expected someone to investigate. And they left the map not by accident, but as a message. This wasn't just about war anymore. This was something deeper. Varric left the base in silence. Outside, the snow still fell, soft and endless. But now, it felt colder. In his ship, he sat quietly, staring into space. Humans ran first. Everyone saw it. Everyone believed it. But what no one saw was the path they left behind. Not just escape routes. Not just survival. But a map that turned retreat into control. Confusion into advantage. Time into power. And the last thing Varric realized before flying off was the most terrifying truth yet. The humans never left the war. They just made everyone else think they did. The Krell warship Firitalon flew through the dead system with confidence. The crew was eager. They had tracked a group of retreating human ships to this place, a system with a red, dying star, and a few broken planets. The humans had run here. Now, there was nowhere left to run. The captain of the Firitalon, Commander Rizik, laughed as his sensors scanned the system. No human ships, no defense signals, no warning beacons. They are hiding, he said, like rats in the dark. The Krell fleet spread out, 20 ships, strong and well-armed. They searched every asteroid, every moon. Nothing. Then they found something. A station. It was small, floating near the remains of a shattered moon. Old human design. Silent. Cold. Power it up, Rizik ordered. A small team boarded the station. Inside, they found nothing useful. Just broken screens, half-eaten rations, and a few human logs. But one log caught their eye. It was a message recently recorded. A human voice spoke, slow and calm. If you're hearing this, it said, you're too late. We already left. But don't worry. We left something behind for you. The message ended. Then the lights in the station turned red. Outside, in space, Varric's small ship drifted silently near the edge of the system. He had followed the Krell fleet here, not to join them, but to observe. Something about this place felt wrong. Suddenly, every scanner in the system lit up. Heat, movement, explosions. It began with the old station. From deep inside it, charges ignited. The whole structure tore apart in a sudden wave of fire. Krell boarding teams screamed as their ships pulled back. Then the asteroid field nearby began to shift. Dozens of rocks weren't rocks at all. They were mines, hidden long ago by human engineers. The field exploded in a chain reaction, hitting the nearest ships with deadly precision. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, the Krell ships went dark. From his distance, Varric watched in horror. It's a trap, he whispered. They didn't run. They led them here. A massive energy surge came next. It started in the core of the dying star. The red sun had always been unstable, but now it erupted. A powerful artificial pulse, likely triggered by humans, caused it to collapse faster than it should have. A solar flare burst out like a whip of fire, slamming into the remaining Krell ships. Their shields held for a moment, and then failed. Within minutes, the whole Krell fleet was destroyed. Silence returned. No human ships, no celebration, no fight. Just a graveyard of twisted metal. Varric sat frozen in his cockpit. He had seen many battles, but this was different. This was not war. This was strategy. The humans had come here long ago, maybe weeks, maybe months. They had studied the star, set the traps, planted the devices. Then they left, and waited. They knew someone would follow them. They wanted someone to follow them. This was not a coward's move. This was the move of a predator. Later, when Varric visited the wreckage, he found another message. It was hidden inside the data core of a broken Krell ship. It said, "Never chase a human who runs. They are not escaping. They are choosing where you will die." The galaxy had always said humans ran first, that they feared war, that they couldn't stand and fight. But now Varric knew the truth. Humans didn't avoid battle because they were afraid. They avoided it because they knew when and where to fight. And they always picked the place where they had already won before the enemy even arrived. Back on his ship, Varric made one final note in his personal log. They don't just survive. They shape the battlefield itself. They don't fight you where you are strongest. They make you fight where you are weakest and where they are already gone. And all you find is the fire they left behind. He looked out at the silent space around him. The stars blinked quietly. The war still raged in other systems. But here, in this dead star system, the humans had spoken without speaking. And the galaxy had just received a warning. Running from humans might save you, but chasing them, that's how empires fall. Captain Varric's ship moved through the edge of deep space. He had not reported back to his command in weeks. He didn't care. The answers he was looking for could not be found in reports or meetings. He was chasing something bigger now, something the galaxy refused to see. Humans. They had become ghosts, running, hiding, always retreating. But every time someone followed them, that enemy ended up falling into a trap. Varric had seen it with his own eyes. Entire fleets destroyed without a single human ship in sight. And yet, where were the humans now? They had vanished again, silent, waiting. Varric's search brought him to the Varnex Drift, a part of space filled with broken satellites and old trading stations. It was a place forgotten by most of the galaxy, useless, dark, and full of space junk. But something didn't feel right. As Varric flew past the debris, his ship's sensors beeped softly. One signal, weak, hidden, almost like it didn't want to be found. He followed it. At first, there was nothing, just metal chunks floating in the black. But then, something shifted. A group of satellites blinked in a strange pattern. They weren't broken. They were watching. Suddenly, a piece of space junk moved. It wasn't junk at all. It was a disguised drone. Varric stopped his ship and turned off his engines. He sent out a signal, a peaceful greeting. The drone scanned his ship and backed off. A moment later, a message appeared on his screen. "Why are you here, Captain?" Varric typed back quickly. "I want the truth. I know you're still out here. I know the galaxy has it wrong. I'm not here to fight." There was silence. Then the drone moved again, slowly drifting to the side. Behind it, the stars shifted. No, not stars. Ships. Hundreds of ships. They were hiding behind special reflective panels, making them invisible to scanners, and even to the naked eye. It was a fleet, a massive human fleet, sleeping in silence. They weren't broken. They weren't weak. They were waiting. A human voice came through Varric's radio, calm and deep. "You've seen the fire we left behind, Captain, but this is the storm we never released." Varric's eyes widened. These ships were new, fast, armored, and powerful. Some had weapons he didn't even recognize. He could tell they were not built to fight small battles. They were made to end wars. "How long have you been hiding here?" Varric asked. "Long enough to let our enemies think we were gone." The voice belonged to Admiral Rice, leader of the human fleet. He stood on the bridge of the largest ship, watching Varric's tiny vessel on his screen. "Every time we retreated," Rice said, "we didn't lose. We learned. We took notes. We studied every weakness, not just theirs, but ours too. We built better tech. We trained smarter. We didn't disappear. We prepared." Varric tried to understand. But why not strike back? Why wait? Reyes smiled. Because fear spreads faster than bullets. Let the galaxy believe we are cowards. Let them chase ghosts and fall into traps. While they waste their strength, we grow stronger. Quietly, silently, until one day they will wake up and find us at their door. Varric looked at the silent fleet again. Some of the ships were still under construction. Others were being loaded with weapons. This wasn't a fleet for defense. This was a fleet built to finish things. Reyes spoke again, his voice softer now. War teaches many things, Captain, but humans learn the most important one. Victory doesn't go to the loudest. It goes to the one who waits for the right moment to strike. The transmission ended. The drone led Varric's ship back out of the drift. The stars looked the same, but he now knew they were lying. Behind them, behind every shadow, a hidden army waited, watching, planning. Back on his ship, Varric recorded a message to his people. They think humans are gone, but they are here, building, training, growing. The galaxy laughs at them still. But that laughter will end soon, because humans do not forget, and they do not forgive. He paused, staring out into the stars. And when they rise again, it will not be quiet. The message was short, only 3 words. We are ready. It was broadcast in a dead language, an old human tongue that hadn't been spoken in years. Most alien translators didn't even recognize it, but a few did, and those few knew exactly what it meant. The message was sent once, from a quiet part of space, a small system with no planets, no colonies, no value. It lasted only 2 seconds before vanishing. But those 2 seconds shook the galaxy. The message reached Admiral Reyes first, deep inside the hidden human fleet. He stood in silence as the words flashed across the screen. Around him, officers and soldiers turned to look. No one spoke. No one needed to. They all knew what it meant. The waiting was over. All across the galaxy, those words triggered silent changes. Human agents hidden inside enemy systems began moving. Old supply routes reopened. Long dormant machines powered up. Some human ships that had been silent for years now lifted off, joining the sky like ghosts waking from a deep sleep. The hunt was about to become a return. In the Dalkin Empire, panic spread fast. Their spies had been watching the humans for years. But now, everything they thought they knew was wrong. The humans hadn't been defeated. They hadn't disappeared. They had been hiding in plain sight. In fact, many neutral trade routes and quiet merchant systems were actually human supply lines. The Dalkins realized it too late. In one system, 10 Dalkin warships were destroyed in less than 2 minutes. They had been patrolling a small human mining world they thought was abandoned. But when the signal was sent, underground bunkers opened, and human anti-orbital cannons rose from the snow. The Dalkins never saw it coming. In another system, an old human space station powered on. A swarm of AI-controlled drones, stored for years, launched with perfect timing. They didn't attack planets. They didn't go after warships. They targeted communications, fuel depots, and supply ships. Within days, Dalkin logistics were broken. Everything the humans had been building in silence was now moving. Captain Varric received the message too. He was on the edge of known space, far from any war. But when the signal came through, his screen flickered with the same 3 words. We are ready. He stared at them for a long time. Varric had been one of the few aliens who believed the truth. He had seen the traps, the strategy, the patience. Now, it was all happening at once. He flew his ship to the nearest military command station and requested a meeting. They laughed at him. Why are you scared of humans? The general asked. They're weak. They run. Always have. Varric only replied, and that's why you'll lose. Because while you were laughing, they were listening. That night, the command station went dark. One human stealth ship, previously thought lost in the war, appeared from the shadows. It didn't fire weapons. It simply hacked the station's power grid and disappeared again. The next morning, every military computer in the region displayed a new message. You had your turn. Now it's ours. One by one, old human colonies came back online, but they weren't the same. They were stronger, more organized, and armed with new weapons. New defenses. Their soldiers moved with calm focus. They didn't shout. They didn't celebrate. They executed. The galaxy had expected a messy, angry return. But the humans weren't angry. They were ready. Even planets that had been under alien control for years began to shift. Human-built machines buried underground activated. Some buildings collapsed from within, revealing hidden human bunkers. Civilians started disappearing. Not because they ran, but because they had joined the network. It wasn't just a military return. It was total. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as dozens of ships launched across nearby systems. He turned to his officers. "No more hiding," he said. They nodded. Behind him, a large screen showed many dots, systems across the galaxy. Each one was blinking red. Targets. Reyes pressed a single button. The screen changed. Each red dot now had a second color next to it. Blue. Human forces were already there. Inside. Prepared. Ready to strike. The Admiral gave the final order. Begin the quiet storm. The galaxy didn't see the storm coming. It wasn't loud. It didn't begin with big battles or burning cities. It started with silence. One by one, systems stopped answering calls. Patrol ships vanished. Fuel stations ran dry. Trade ships went off course and never came back. At first, leaders thought it was a technical error. It wasn't. It was the humans. They didn't need to conquer planets with force. They didn't need big fleets to fight in open space. Instead, they struck in the shadows. Silent. Fast. Precise. It was like the galaxy itself had started to break apart from the inside. In the Krell sector, 6 space stations went offline in a single night. Their oxygen systems had been hacked. When Krell soldiers rushed in to help, they found no enemies, only empty halls, and one message left behind, scratched into the wall. You ruled while we watched. Now we act. The Dalkan Empire tried to send reinforcements. They prepared 3 fleets, but when the ships arrived at their jump points, they exploded before they could even leave the docks. The humans had planted the charges months ago. Even deep in neutral space, strange things began to happen. A powerful alien trade company received a shipment of mining tools, only to discover the crates were full of human stealth drones. They activated at night and vanished before sunrise, leaving only ashes behind. This wasn't war. It was surgical collapse. Admiral Reyes stood aboard his flagship, watching map after map turn blue. Each color shift meant another system had fallen, not with explosions, but with silence. "We don't take planets," he said to his officers. "We remove control. We turn their order into chaos." And when they ask, "Who did this?" the only answer will be, they always ran, until they didn't. In the far reaches of space, Captain Varak watched it all unfold. He had warned his people. He had begged them to listen. Now it was too late. The human storm wasn't like anything they'd expected. It didn't destroy everything. It destroyed the foundation. Governments couldn't talk to each other. Warships couldn't refuel. Command centers were cut off from their armies. Even fear had no one to speak to. Because there were no big battles. Just empty seats, dead screens, and one whisper left behind in every broken place. You thought we were weak because we walked away. But we chose where to return. On planet Dara, the main military base of the Dalkan Empire went dark for 30 seconds. When power returned, the generals found every file on their computers had been erased. In its place, one video played. It showed a human child sitting in a destroyed city from years ago, holding a flag covered in dust. The child looked into the camera. "You forgot what you did to us, but we didn't." Then the screen went black. The Dalkans tried to respond with force. They launched raids, bombed empty colonies, chased shadows. But every time they attacked, their ships were pulled into traps. Mining rigs turned into turrets. Abandoned moons had hidden missile pods. Even cargo ships had auto-defense drones tucked under false panels. And when they captured humans, they said nothing. No screams, no anger, just calm smiles. One soldier, before being executed, said quietly, "We don't need to win every battle. We already won the war of time." The galaxy was breaking down fast. But the humans weren't done. On the 40th day after the signal, Rise gave a final order. "Send the message." Across every system touched by humanity, a single transmission played at the same time. It showed a human council, old leaders, standing together. The one in front spoke. "We did not conquer with force. We did not need to. You gave us everything when you ignored us, when you laughed. When you pushed us back, we went deeper. When you thought we ran, we were learning. Now we return, not with armies, with understanding, with systems, with control. You will not see us coming, because we've already been here." The screen faded, and across the galaxy, every power knew it. The humans were not just back. They had never left. They were everywhere. And they were now the storm. The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. The Dalkan Empire, once proud and powerful, now sat in silence. Their war fleets were gone. Their stations were offline. Their colonies were cut off from each other. And yet, no great battle had happened. No final war. No loud invasion. Just silence. And in that silence, fear grew. On the central world of Dalkor Prime, the High Council gathered. Generals, leaders, scientists, and spies sat in a large dark hall. No one spoke for a long time. Then one of the younger commanders finally said what no one else wanted to. "We lost, didn't we?" The room stayed quiet. Not because they disagreed, but because they knew it was true. They had sent their strongest fleets. They had spent years hunting humans, chasing them, mocking them. And now, those same humans had taken back half the galaxy without firing many shots. The Council's main screen showed the latest map. Most of the outer colonies were already under human influence, not by force, but by quiet control. Human-run systems worked. Alien ones didn't. Trade flowed where the humans allowed it. Communications worked when they said so. Even Dalkan soldiers were secretly asking to join them. It wasn't just defeat. It was replacement. From deep in space, Admiral Rise stood on the command deck of the flagship Vigil. He didn't smile. He didn't cheer. He only watched the last systems fall into place. He turned to his officers. "Soon, they'll understand the truth," he said. "They always thought power came from weapons, from battles. But we showed them it comes from patience and from remembering." Back on Dalkor Prime, one of the older spies stood and slammed a report on the table. "This isn't war. It's manipulation. Mind games. We should strike back with everything we have." The High Chancellor looked at him and spoke softly. "With what?" she asked. "Our fleets are gone. Our people are scared. Our systems are broken. If we launch a single attack now, the humans will shut off our food, our fuel, our air." Another general whispered, "Maybe they already have." No one knew how far human influence reached. That was the most dangerous part. They had no clear leader to strike, no capital to bomb, no army standing in rows. Humanity had become a network, a shadow that touched every part of the galaxy. A galaxy that didn't even realize it had already changed hands. Captain Varric stood in a forgotten starport at the edge of known space. He had watched it all unfold. The rise of humans without a single trumpet, without a flag waving over burning cities. He leaned on the railing and looked out into space. This was never about fighting, he said quietly to himself. It was about outlasting, about knowing when to disappear and when to return. Near him, a human cargo ship silently landed. Its markings were fake, alien letters on the outside. But inside, it was fully human. The crew didn't wear armor. They wore clean, simple uniforms. Calm faces, quiet voices. They weren't afraid of anything anymore. Why should they be? They had already won. The last thing the galaxy had left was denial. The belief that maybe this could be reversed, that maybe the humans could still be pushed back. But the truth was harder than that. The war was over, and the galaxy hadn't even realized it had lost. At the same moment, across hundreds of systems, a soft chime played on every device. Screens flickered. Then one sentence appeared everywhere, translated into every known language. The age of noise has ended. Then a second line followed. The ones who ran now lead. The Dalkan High Council read the message in silence. The High Chancellor stood slowly. "We were the first to call them cowards," she said. "We watched them run and thought we had won." She looked at the map one last time. They didn't fall last. She turned away. They never fell at all.